So how do we find the percent composition of the elements here inside of barium bromide? Well, it turns out the first thing is we need to find the total mass of the compound. So I'm going to use this table to help us out. Bam! So the first thing is I'm going to write down the elements I see in the compound. So I have barium, Ba, and I have bromine, Br. Next is going to be to identify the number of atoms of each element in the compound. So that's where the subscripts come into play. At the bottom of barium, there is an invisible one. So that means that there's one atom of barium in barium bromide. And at the bottom of bromine, there is a 2. So there are 2 atoms of bromine. Next, we're going to take those number of atoms and multiply it by the mass of each particular element. Now, this is where the periodic table comes into play. This is where we find the masses. So let's take a look. These masses here at the bottom of barium, 137.33, and barium, 79.90, represent either gram per mole if you're finding molar mass, or AMU if you're finding molecular mass. All right, so let's write those values down. So for barium, we have a value of about 137.33. And then for bromine, we have a value of about 79.90. Then what we're going to do is we're going to simply take those values and multiply them together. So 1 atom of barium multiplied by the mass of barium gives us the total mass of barium in the compound, or in other words, 137.33 units of mass. Then, since I have 2 bromines, I'm going to take it and multiply by the mass of each bromine to find the total amount of bromine, which then works out to be about 159.8. And then to find the total mass of the compound, just add these 2 together. Right? Nice and simple. 200 and then 97.13. And now, since we're trying to find the mass percent of each element here in the compound, the first step was to find then that mass, the total mass of the compound, and now all we got to simply do is do a very, very added quick step. So I'm just going to add then another column to the table. Bam! So to find out the mass percent of barium, we're simply going to take the total amount of barium here, 137.33. And then we're going to divide it then by the total mass of the compound. This is a simple percentage part over whole, 297.13. And then we're going to multiply it by 100. All right? Just to save a little space, I'm going to just erase this work, so please write it down or pause the video. And now when we do the math there, and we plug it on into the calculator, right, if you need to, this is going to be about 46.22%. And that's the percent now composition or mass percent of barium in barium bromide. Same thing for bromine here, right? We're going to take the total amount of bromine, divide it then by the total mass of the compound, multiply by 100, and we come up with a value then of about 53.78%. Right? Same exact calculation basically as the barium, because it's the same idea. And then to simply check yourself, right, just add those 2 columns up if you'd like, and they should add up to then 100%. All right? Guys, thanks so very much for tuning in. Now you know how to calculate the mass percent of each element here in barium bromide. And thank you so much for tuning in. Check us out. We got a whole bunch of other videos out there. Almost 4,000 videos now and counting. We'll see you soon. Take care.